Hello, beautiful. Welcome back to another episode of Vagina Truth Bomb, the podcast. I am your host, Amy, and as always, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to tune in and listen. And I hope you're having a pretty fabulous day. And whether you are or not, I am sending you lots and lots of love. I really appreciate having you here with me today. So, I am, as before, in the tap room in my house. If you haven't listened to the previous episode, I'm in a cupboard. Well, we call it our tap room. It's a large cupboard because it's like in the eaves of the house. It's not a proper room, and we call it our tap room because we just chuck all our tat in here. So we've got Christmas decorations, we've got the printer, we've got some clothes. Currently sat next to Tom's football boots and poker set. And yeah, I've made myself quite comfy, and as my base today I am using my Oodie, and I just thought I'd start by giving a bit of a shout out to the Oodie because it's amazing. Yeah, have you got one? Let me know if you've got an Oodie or not, because oh my god, they're the best things ever. I wanted one for ages, but I was like, oh, they're so expensive. And then I got one for Christmas. Tom and I got one each for Christmas last year. Just the best thing ever. Just lived in it all winter. It's just so comfy. And I found it and I thought, oh, I'm going to use that as my base. So it's like a little, it's almost like being on a beanbag. It's soft and wonderful, and yeah, so there you go. There's my Oodie appreciation to start off the podcast. Let me know if you've got one, and I'd really be interested to know if you have an Oodie, what I call the summer Oodie, so the Oodie t-shirt, because I've been eyeing them up as well and wondering if maybe that's something I need to purchase. So let's get reorientated back to today's episode, which is all about the intentions of this podcast and how they're going to be executed. So if you follow me on social media, if you are on my email list, then you will, or you may have seen that I have posted and shared my intentions there, and I feel they're really important. So I'm going to dedicate this episode to you, and I'm going to start by just reading them out to you now. So Vagina Truth Bomb, the podcast, is intended to start to change the narrative when it comes to women's health and well-being to a more positive and informed one. Encourage you to look at your own health in a more holistic and full way. Help you regain agency of your own body health and well-being by understanding how your body works. Allow you to get to know me better. Understand how I can support you in navigating your health and well-being challenges, and to create a deep and meaningful connection via the VTB community. Okay, so there's quite a lot in there, and that's clearly going to be the case because when it comes to your health and well-being, it is everything, isn't it? If we think about our bodies, and particularly when it comes to the health of our bodies and our emotional and physical health and well-being, it is literally everything. If something gets out of whack with us, it can impact on every aspect of our lives. And one great example of this is sleep. And if you don't get a good night's sleep, or if you get several interrupted nights of sleep, you quickly start to deteriorate in your function. And for me personally, this can happen if I have one bad night's sleep. I really struggle to be productive, to think clearly, to be a nice person. I can get very angry and hungry, like I get hungry and tired and just, I'm just absolutely not my best self when I'm tired. But that's a really good example about how something that's impacting your health and your well-being has a huge impact on everything else around you. You know, when I'm tired and grumpy, my husband knows about it, my dogs know about it. Like, I am just not the best version of myself. So when it comes to looking at our health, it makes sense to look at things holistically. And this is what I do at Vagina Truth Bomb, because it's just necessary. And as I shared in my second episode about my medical history, when I was going through everything that I went through, I wasn't being treated, cared for, looked at in a holistic sense. And therefore, I didn't successfully heal. So at Vagina Truth Bomb, we literally look at everything. And as I've been creating this podcast, I have had 5 categories very loosely floating around my head for ways of sharing this holistic approach with you. And I'm going to share these with you now. So the first category is the body. Second is emotions. Third is environment. Fourth is blueprint. And the fifth is a little bit of a labia pun, and it's flappy bits. So I'm going to talk through these one by one. So I'm going to be talking about the body. And that's pretty obvious, because it is my intention with this podcast to literally blow your mind open when it comes to your body. We live in a society that significantly undervalues the human body and underappreciates the human body, especially the female one. I'm going to help you to understand how your body works, how she works as a whole, so all of your systems working together as a complete, beautiful unit. And I'm going to help you to understand how she's capable of healing given the right environment. I'm going to help you to have a deep appreciation and love for your body. And it's my intention by doing this, by giving you this information about your body, that you become more informed when it comes to your own health. So you then have more agency when it comes to supporting yourself through disease, through inflammation, through periods of flare up, if that's something that you can relate to. For you to have a deeper understanding of what's going on in your body, what she needs, and how you can support her. So that's the body in a nutshell. Moving on to emotions. So, again, in a nutshell, going to be looking at emotions in such a deep and meaningful way. Looking at how we have good emotions and bad emotions, and treating all emotions as equal. We're going to look at what happens when we suppress emotions, and we're going to be looking a lot at trauma and the impact of trauma on the body, because this is huge. We do not live in a trauma-informed society, and this is leading to a lot of issues, mental health issues, physical issues. We're going to be looking at emotional drivers for some disease, and we're also going to look at how you feel about your body, yourself, and your life choices, how you talk to yourself. and really start to understand what emotions we're feeling, where we're holding them in our body, and how that is impacting on our health and well-being. And I'm also going to be sharing with you ways that you can address emotions in a healthy and loving, trauma-informed way. So that's emotions in a nutshell. Moving on to environment. So, as I said, there is so much overlap between these categories. You've probably picked up on it already, but these are just categories that I've made for ease. So, moving into environment. Again, another huge topic. This is everything from the environment inside our bodies to the environment outside of our bodies. So the breath, the water, the air, the food, the chemicals that are coming from your outside environment to your internal environment. The home that you live in, the office that you work in, how much nature contact you have with nature, and the society we live in and the conditioning and narratives that we experience within that society. Now, this is huge because in the Western culture, again, when we're talking about health and well-being, huge imbalance of power when it comes to looking after our bodies, our health and our well-being. We tend to give our agency away to professionals who we feel know what we need. And when we're growing up in an environment where we're told to, not trust our own bodies, but to seek advice and guidance completely outside of our bodies, we don't get to address all of the deep stuff that needs addressing when it comes to health and healing. So again, environment is a huge one, but just in a nutshell, some of the things that we're going to be talking about are there, along with, again, practices, tips, advice on how we can create better environments, because we don't get better in the environment we came ill within. When we are unwell, it is our bodies, it's a message from our body telling us that we need to change something. And that change will always impact on your environment. So again, environment, huge topic, huge crossover between the body and emotions, but literally just doing nutshells in this episode. So the next episode is your blueprint. And within this category, I have put in everything that basically you were born with. Sometimes you've even had it before you were born, like from conception in the womb. So these are things like your body's ability to work. So just knowing how to breathe. We don't have to think all the time about how do we breathe, how do we digest food, how do we circulate blood around the body. All of this stuff just happens. It's part of our blueprint. Our intuition, huge when it comes to us, our being. Like, you cannot disregard your intuition. It's so significant. And then we've got things like your worthiness. So feeling like you matter, feeling like you are worthy of making the changes that need to be made for you to get better. So again, in a nutshell, that's the blueprint category. And then the last category in flappy bits. I'm literally I've put in there everything else. So in here, I'm going to be talking more about myself, so you get to know more about me, how you can work with me, more about my one-to-one mentoring programs, my workshops, the Vagina Truth Bomb community. Lots of stuff's going to be going on in there. And also, I'll be sharing conversations with peers and guests and opening up conversations to change the narrative. I'm really excited about that. I'm going to be talking about random thoughts and topics that I feel need to be shared and given a platform to talk about, and sharing advice from my own life experiences and my own health and healing journey. So all of that, everything else fits into the category of all the flappy bits. So I hope that gives you some direction as to the intentions of this podcast and where I'm going with it and what I'm going to be sharing. And I'm really excited to check in and keep bringing these episodes out because I'm really enjoying this process. And yeah, just the other thing I want to say as well is I would really welcome any input that you guys have to have as well. If there's anything that I'm saying that resonates with you, anything you would like more clarification on or more information, details about, please don't be afraid to reach out to me via the community. Is probably the easiest way, which you can access through my website. You can email me, amy@vaginatruthbomb.com. And you can also find me on social media as well. But I'd really love it if you guys got involved in the conversation as well. So I'm going to leave it there today. I'm so excited to dive deeper into some of these topics and to start to change the narrative with you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to tune in and listen to me. It's been a pleasure as always. I want to wish you a beautiful day, and remember, you are an amazing, beautiful person, and I love you. Thank you very much. See you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of Vagina Truth Bomb, the podcast. It is a real honour to have you listening. I would love to hear your thoughts, feelings and takeaways from this episode, and you can share them with me via the VTB Community, which is accessible through my website, vaginatruthbomb.com. You can also share them via social media platforms, making sure that you tag me so that we can connect. All of my social media links are in my show notes. I would really love and appreciate it if you could help me in growing my audience by sharing this podcast with others who you think it will interest, or adding a screenshot to your stories and tagging me so I can send you some love back. Also, if you subscribe, follow and review the podcast on the platform you're listening to, this will be a huge help too. Have a beautiful day, and I will catch you in the next episode. Much love, Amy.